Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got in a very interesting product to share with you here today. This is coming from MidTen, and it's kind of like a scope, a laser, a red dot sight, a flashlight, kind of all combined into one. So stick around if you want to learn about it. We'll do a real quick unboxing. We'll go over some of the features and details of each of those individual items. Probably get it mounted to something and get out to the range, do a little bit of testing with it, and then give you guys some thoughts on it. So we have just a plain brown box, a couple stickers on the one end, but let's get cut into it and see what this thing is all about. Maybe. There we go. There's a ton of stuff here. So in this baggie, we have multiple different battery types. I mean, there's different button cells, charging cables. We'll have to get all this stuff out in a bit. Looks like we got the flashlight here. Manual. Looks like some type of rings. Looks like the laser. There's just so much stuff. Another mount, like a high-rise mount. Here's the red dot. Got some covers. And then the scope itself there. I know you're not buying stuff for the box, but I will say that this was packaged really well. This foam is actually really high quality, and even the box is a really sturdy box. So here is everything that was in that box, kind of all laid out. The red dot is going to take these LR44 batteries. The scope is going to take the CR2032 batteries. The flashlight is going to take the CR123A batteries. And the laser is rechargeable. So what I'm probably going to do here is just show you each of the items kind of individually and then just mention a few of the features of them. Because if I went into full reviews of everything here, this video is going to take well over an hour and something. We'll start off first here with this holographic sight. It is all metal construction, some type of aluminum. It's going to be red or green. You can have it either one. And it's also going to have 4 different reticles. We can have a dot, a circle dot, some like crosshairs, and then kind of a little bit of combination of everything where it's crosshairs, circle, and dot. It's going to have windage and elevation adjustments, a rear sight channel. This is a Picatinny mount. And again, like you can choose on all of these things whether you want to put it on the scope or not. The Amazon listing says that there's like 5 brightness levels, but I actually think there's like 8 or 9. So I'll go through them here with you real quick. This is obviously just the plain dot. And then it'll cycle back through. Once you get to the highest level, it just automatically goes back down to the lowest. But let's flip to the next thing to show you what that looks like. So that's the circle dot rather. And as it gets brighter, the camera makes it look like it's all one big kind of blob, but without the camera it looks pretty crisp and clear. And there is the crosshairs kind of with the dot in the middle. And finally, kind of a little bit of everything there. And then if you want to switch to red, you just hit the button over here that says red. So pretty simple. Again, you can go through the different brightnesses. Kind of show you what all those look like. That selector is a little bit stiff. I'll also have to see how difficult that is to get to once it's sitting on the top of that scope, because there's not a whole lot of room right in here, and I'll mess with that a bit and see if that'll loosen up some. And just to quickly show you guys, it says right there that that's the brightness button and also for on and off. Well, pressing either of those buttons definitely turns it on, and then it goes through the brightness. But I could not figure out how to shut it off actually. And like if you long press the button, nothing happens. It would just like keep cycling through. What you have to do to shut it off is to hit both buttons at the same time, right here, and then that'll turn it off. All right, up next is this little laser. We're going to have a red laser and a green laser. Again, Picatinny mount, and then it also has another Picatinny on top of it, so if you wanted to mount something else, you could. USB-C rechargeable. It looks like with the laser, we're going to have to use this other mount here, because once this would be on here, I think that the dials and then the scope itself is going to block the laser coming out. So we'll have to put this on first and then put this on. With the laser, we're just simply going to have an on or an off. There's no like brightness settings or anything. And you can have them both on at the same time, you know, if you would want to do that for whatever reason. And later on, I'll try to give you guys an idea of kind of how far I can see each of these colors in the daytime and then also at night. Up next, we got the flashlight, again, made out of aluminum. I believe we're just going to have an on-off with it as well, just like one output setting. I believe it says it's 120 lumens, but let's see what we got there. It's actually a really decent hotspot there, and then pretty good spill as well. Same thing with this. I'll try to give you guys some type of nighttime shots with it. No remote pressure switches or anything like that, so it's just this rear tail. And we'll use this mount to attach it to the scope here later. So here is our scope. It is a 4-16x50 with an adjustable objective. We can go as low as basically like 5 to 10 yards, basically out to infinity with it. It does have a diopter adjustment. That's actually very smooth. Our magnification adjustment here, there's not a throw lever. It's kind of like built into it, I guess. But that's actually pretty smooth as well. I misspoke earlier on that red dot when I said the Amazon listing said it was 5 brightness and there's actually 9. It does say 9 on that. It's 5 for the scope. So this is going to have an illuminated reticle, and we're going to have 5 brightness settings on green and also 5 brightness settings on red. And just like the other things, this is made out of aluminum. It does have a Picatinny mount here. And obviously all the other Picatinny mounts for all of our other stuff is going to be around here as well. This is supposed to be shockproof, fog-proof, waterproof, but I'm not sure of the rating. Let's check out our windage adjustments here. See what these turrets are like. Very audible, palpable. I do not see any way of locking them though. Try to show you guys what that reticle looks like. They're calling it a rangefinder reticle. All right, so there is a tree that's right there. That's about 100 yards away. So I have this set at 100, and right now we are on the 4 magnification. And I'll try to show you guys what this is going to look like. So again, 4 times magnification. And if something would be a little bit like blurry or anything like that, again, you can just kind of turn this back here to bring it back into focus. This is the same tree on the 8 times magnification. Hopefully it gives you an idea of that reticle as well here. And now we're on the 12 times magnification. And finally 16 times magnification. The eye relief is probably 3.5 inches on this scope. Not going to be perfect here, but I'm going to try to show you what the different colors of these reticles look like. I will do the red here first. It's always hard to get the camera to pick this up right. That's level 2, 3, there we go. And here is 4, 5, we'll have off, now green, that's 1 on green, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So up next, I'm going to get the laser, the red dot, the flashlight all added onto the scope. We'll kind of see what everything looks like. Alright, so I got everything mounted on here, and this is quite the setup. I will tell you that it takes a little bit of trial and error. I could not put the red dot any further forward, or it was kind of hitting the elevation adjustment right there. And the flashlight, I could have mounted the thing at the bottom, but it was like really hard to get to, even with the screwdriver coming through here. So I put it just slightly forward of that right there so I could tighten that up. And again, you do have to use this mount here, this riser, to get this far enough out. If not, the laser would be hitting up against this. And for those of you wondering, all of this together here, we are looking at 2 pounds, almost 11 ounces. So I'll still try to show you guys what the flashlight looks like at night, also the laser, then I'll get it mounted to something. Alright, let's see what this flashlight looks like here in the dark. As you can see, there is a bit of a shadow kind of from the end of the scope here where the flashlight's hitting that. Alright, let's check out the flashlight outside. There's a row of trees that's about 60 or 70 feet in front of me here. And again, hopefully the camera's picking this up to where basically like the right side of the beam is kind of blocked because of the scope. Like I can see that the beam throws really well, but unfortunately it's only like half of it. And now we'll check out the laser. That actually throws really, really well. Let's do the red. Alright guys, out at the range this morning with that MidTen 4-16x50. I'm going to get it set up down here at 50 yards. I'll get everything sighted in. Probably put 100 rounds total through it and just kind of make sure it holds 0 and that everything else is okay with it. Alright, so I've had a chance to use everything on this scope combo, and so let's talk about it. I'm going to start off with a few of my negatives here, and the first one is just the weight of this scope combo. It's almost at 3 pounds. It is very heavy. If you have to carry this any distance at all, you're definitely going to notice that increased weight, whether it's across fields or through the woods. If you're shooting from a bench, it's not a big deal, but if you're holding this up to shoot it, you're going to really notice that weight there too. Second thing I'll mention is I don't like how the scope blocks some of that flashlight beam. It doesn't matter where you place this flashlight along the rail here, it's still going to be hit there. And it almost needs like a riser like a laser does. But if you use that riser, then the laser is hitting that and hitting there. And speaking of that laser, because it is so far offset, I honestly had a kind of hard time getting it sighted in. So what I would almost recommend is basically doing a constant offset. So basically measure from like the center of your rifle out to where the lasers are. And let's just say that's 2 inches. We'll just always keep it at 2 inches so that you know that your point of aim and your point of impact are going to be two different things. So basically you would just aim 2 inches to the right of what your intended target is. Another thing I didn't like is that these turrets do not lock. So you get your scope zeroed in, and if you do bump these and if it turns, it can change your zero for sure. And the last thing I'll mention is if you are a shooter who shoots with both eyes open, which a lot of guys do even with rifles, there are a lot of things that are obstructing your off eye, basically your non-dominant eye. So I'm a right eye dominant shooter, and so this flashlight on this side kind of affects my field of view and my vision. Alright, now let's talk about some of the positives. The scope is like the main feature of this, and it's actually a decent scope. The glass is pretty clear. It has a adjustable objective. It has the illuminated reticle. It seems like it's constructed pretty well. Just overall, it's a decent scope. The red dot up on top is actually pretty decent too. It's got that huge window. It's got multiple reticles, multiple color options, very clear glass, no starbursting on the dot. So yeah, it's actually decent. The laser over on the side, all metal construction, but it's still pretty lightweight. It's very, very bright. Even in the sunny daylight, you can see this thing for a couple hundred yards, and at night, several hundred yards. And finally, the flashlight. It's very lightweight. I like how simple, like the user interface, you basically just have like an on and off, just a one mode. I really like that about it. It's actually very bright. I know it says 120 lumens, but it looks way brighter than that. And it actually throws a beam pretty well. So this combo is available on Amazon. They're coming in at just over 90 bucks. I will leave that link down in the video description in case you guys want to find out more information on it. Maybe read some of those reviews, or if you just want to pick one up. But alright guys, if you found the video helpful or informative in any way, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.